Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So this video is about traveling on flights with your kirpan. A lot of people don't want to take the kirpan off, they don't want to take the kakar off, they want to keep it on their body. So this will kind of tell you which planes and flights you can keep it on and what size and the requirements are. So I try to share from my own experiences of where I've worn it and other Gursikhs that have worn it in other countries as well, and kind of go from there. So in terms of the UK, you can pretty much wear it to any country in the world, and you can travel to any country from the UK if you are traveling outwards. So whether that's America, whether that's Canada, whether that's India, New Zealand, wherever you're going, you can wear a kirpan. But you do have size requirements and things to stick to. So I've got the smallest kirpan I have over here, and in the UK the limit is 6 centimeters, and that's not including the outside part of the kirpan. It's just the blade, right? You're just including the blade part of it, and it also needs to be a blunt blade, which, you know, not the best, but it has to be a blunt blade. So if I just measure this, I've got an inch tape here, so this is pretty much 6, pretty much showing exactly like 6, just a couple of, you won't be able to see, but it's just a couple of, it's a little bit over, but just a tiny bit. But that did cause me an issue actually when I went to the UK, because they checked with their card and they're like, it's a little bit over. So what they do is their ID badges, they'll check the side of it. So for example, I show you, like, this is my Croatian card, but this is actually 5 centimeters, and I think most of the cards, maybe it's just in America, but most of the cards are 5 centimeters. But the ones they were checking on, maybe they were 5 centimeters as well, but they normally just check like this. And last time mine was over, and the lady was really, really nice. She was African, and she understood what the kirpan was, and she was like, it's totally fine, like, you know, it's slightly bigger, but I'm just gonna let you go. And then the other time I went to the UK as well, there was a Gauri, and she was like, I know what it is, and that's totally fine, just go through ahead. I shouldn't even check. So sometimes they might check, sometimes they won't check. So just in case they do check, just make sure you are sticking to those requirements of 6 centimeters, and that blade should be blunt, right? Because they might nitpick on that depending on who you come across, and it's just best to keep it that way. But if you do come across something and that, you know, they're saying, wait a minute, you're not allowed to wear this, you can just pull up the laws on your phone. It's there, and you can show them. There's this little, I'm going to try to find it, but there's this little ID thing you can hold as well with what is a kirpan, this little booklet, and it's just really small, and you can keep it in your pocket when you're traveling. I'll try to link that somewhere as well, just so that you can have that and download that and just keep it with you, or have it on your phone, just so that people can see, okay, this is actually written in the law and it's totally fine. So yeah, so that would be the UK. You can travel anywhere and everywhere, and people they do know about the kirpan, and it's more easy, and that is pretty much like all airports. But sometimes when you go to lesser known airports, say it's not Heathrow, you might need to explain a little bit more, because it might be their first time. I went there recently, and there was someone new on the job, and she was like, I have no clue what this is, and she just called her supervisor, and that's what I'm telling you, the supervisor was like, it's a little bit more, but we'll let it go. So some people just have no clue. So if you come across someone like that, and they might want to get the supervisor, and they might just think and make a decision and be like, nope, we're not letting you go through with this. So you just need to make sure that you have the knowledge and you have the resources to back what you're saying, because a lot of this is to do with knowing, having your knowledge, and being able to communicate it across in a really nice and knowledgeable manner. So that's the UK. And then you've got Canada. So you can travel to anywhere and everywhere from Canada, except America. You can't go from Canada to America with a kirpan, and that's because they have their own security system that they have to go through. So if you wear a kirpan from Canada to America, your kirpan will be taken off you, because they have their own security and their own rules. So UK to anywhere is totally fine. But then when you go from Canada to America, not okay. But Canada to UK, say Canada to India, you're okay, and it's totally fine. And again, you should stick to that small size. I know a couple people that have gotten the exact approximate size made, and they're kind of distributing it around Canada as well. So there is like that specific size, right? And you might not be able to find that. I normally get these from Amritsar, just near Harmandir Sahib. There's a few stores I go to, and I try to get a couple from different stores and then just bulk buy in one of them. But yeah, they work out. That's Canada, and then I've done both of those, so I can vouch for that. Like traveling from the UK to anywhere, I have worn my kirpan. It's never been an issue for me. And same with Canada, apart from obviously when I go into America, I don't wear my kirpan there. So what you do is, if you are wanting to, obviously you are traveling from Canada to America, what you do is you'd get a checked bag. And you would get your kirpan put into there, because in your checked bag they're not going to search that. Whereas if you put it in your hand luggage, that will be searched when it goes through the security system, and it's going to be flagged up. So you shouldn't put it in your hand luggage. You should put it in your checked bag. This new thing that I've learned, I haven't tried it myself. So again, we had like a Sikh conference, and for Khalis, and one of the Singhs, he was traveling from Canada, and there was a Singhni on the desk, and she told him, she was checking in his hand luggage because of his kirpan, and she goes, Viju, why don't you just cob it? You can just say, can you cob this? And if they've got enough space, they'll just do it for free, because a lot of us just pay for checked bags when we have really short flights as well, just because of our kirpan. That is something you can try if you're from Canada, because if you try it and they say no, oh well, you're going to check it in anyway and you're going to pay anyway. But if they say, oh yeah, we do that, actually we have space and we can just check it in for free, and because it's the size requirement, then just do it, because you're saving your money anyway, and that works out. So yeah, if you are traveling from a place where your kirpan isn't allowed, then just get it checked in. And another thing sometimes people do is, if it's a really short flight, because I know some Gursikhs are always traveling like very short flights, 3-4 hours, and they don't want to check in luggage every single time, someone can be ready on the other side. There's loads of Gursikhs everywhere that can come give you a kirpan when you land. So that's another option. If you don't want to check your bag in and you don't want to get your kirpan like that, you can just someone to give you a kirpan. And I know a lot of people that don't eat when the kirpan isn't on them, so obviously it's nice if you have your check-in bag and you just grab your kirpan out of it and, you know, eat and whatnot. And the only reason some people do that, quite a lot of people do that, is because, you know, when their kirpan is away from them, it's a reminder that something is missing, and then you actually remember to put your kirpan back on. When I never used to do this, I wouldn't even remember at times, and I know like friends that don't do it, and they don't remember, like even 6-7 hours after their flight and they're sitting at home, they won't remember that their kirpan isn't on them. Whereas like I'll remember, because I'll be so hungry, I'll be like, oh my god, I'm so hungry. But obviously if you're feeling sick and you're not feeling well, and I personally wouldn't then do it, because then you're just going to make yourself really ill. It's each to their own. See what works for you, but it's a really good way to remember to keep a kirpan on you. It's not something that, you know, everyone wants to do, so totally fine. Respect everyone's, you know, there's some people that don't even travel because they go to Sikhs in India that won't travel because they don't want to take the kirpan off. I have a lot of respect for them, and I think that's the way it should be, right? We should just respect everyone's like boundary and how they are comfortable with doing what they're doing, and everyone's practice might change over time. And yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, but hey, that's the UK and that's America, and those two I can vouch for. The rest are other people that I know that have traveled, so you gotta just be a little bit more cautious about that, because I haven't personally done it, but I know that Gursikhs that we've called over from other countries and have done it, and it's worked successfully for them. So Holland, you can travel from Holland. You know, there's 2-3 people that I know that travel with their kirpan outside of Holland onto their flights. So Holland is a place that you can use. That's Holland to UK that we are sure about. That's Holland to UK. And the other place is New Zealand. So you can travel from New Zealand to anywhere. I would just about to USA. So if any people know if you can travel from New Zealand to USA, let us know. But I know that loads of Gursikhs have travelled from New Zealand to other countries with their kirpan, and it's not been an issue. Again, just keep it the smallest size. In India, it's a 6-inch kirpan, so it's a bit bigger. So the 6 centimeter would be, so 6 inches is like here, and then your 6 centimeter one is up to here. So it's quite a large size as you're allowed in India. But I wouldn't risk wearing too big of a one anywhere, really, just because it just gives them a cause to be like, oh no, this is too big, and no, it's like the smaller, like 6 centimeter size, and then you can use the example of other countries allowing that as well, like Canada and the UK, and be like, look, this is allowed, and you can travel anywhere in the world with this size and with this specification. So I would just keep it really easy. And I know in India it's the domestic flights, so domestic flights within India you can do it. I don't know about traveling out from India to anywhere else. I haven't personally done that, so again, I wouldn't risk that. So I'm telling you the risks as well, of course. But the best thing to do in these situations is research and find out online, is check the laws. And the other thing you need to be really careful about is if you have a transit flight, you need to make sure that they don't have a security that they're going through, right? So what I'm talking about is direct flights. Like, so if I do a direct flight from the UK to America, I'm fine. But if I had a transit flight in between, I have to check the rules of that country. And I don't know the rules of every single country, because there's so different places people stop. So you'd have to research that and just make sure that they don't have a security system of their own there. So this is for direct flights, right? So just make sure, if you have a transit flight, make sure you know the rules of that country. Is there a separate security system for them? Do you have to talk to them? And that's happened before, like where it's been a country I know people have gone through and it's not allowed there, but they're educated and they're knowledgeable, and they've done it in a really respectful way where they've convinced members of staff to allow something that's against their law technically. So again, arm yourself with knowledge in that sense. And yeah, I think that's the main places I know about. So UK, Canada, New Zealand and Holland. Glasgow counts in that as well. And yeah, just make sure you don't have a transit flight. Just make sure you check on those rules there. And that's what it is with the Kirpan, really. But if there's any questions, let me know. I think a lot of other people can really help with this, because other people have traveled a lot more, and if they've tried it, we can share that wealth of knowledge amongst each other to make it a bit easier. Hopefully there comes a point where every place and everywhere in the world, it makes it easier for us to travel with our card. That would be absolutely brilliant, ideally. But for now, we can stick with the rules and regulations and still wear our card and be happy. Because right after I finished this post, I remembered that World Sick Org had posted about it. And I just wanted to include some of the countries that it mentioned, which is Germany and Qatar. Those are two countries that it mentioned where you're also allowed to wear it. Here, the wording says less than six centimeters. So just to be safe, you can have it less than 6 centimeters. I know I've been saying 6 centimeters. And and then the countries where it's definitely not allowed, they've listed them as well. So America, which I didn't mention, Australia, Mexico, United Arab Emirates, France, Hong Kong, Singapore and Malaysia. So those are places where it's not allowed. Thought I'd include that as well, because that's super helpful to know as well. And the rest we already spoke about. I'll add their post at the end of this as well, so that could be super helpful. And the leaflet. Have a good one.